Is the OP-1 worth it?
Freebie.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Today's patron shout-out goes to Rivendell1971. Thank you so much for the support. Let's get started. So, yes, welcome to yet another Is the OP-1 Worth It video here on YouTube. The platform is crawling with them, frankly, and for the most part, they almost always come to the same conclusion. Yes, the OP-1 is worth it to some people, and not worth it to others. You have to make that choice for yourself. And, I mean, fair enough, you know. And actually, my video, well, the outcome of my video is not going to be that far off from those conclusions. But it's how I'm going to get there that I want to be different. This is going to be based on my time with the OP-1, and then my time observing others with their OP-1s after gaining some understanding of the device. Hey everybody, Freebeat here, just wrapping up editing the video, and I realized that I might have come off across a little bit like gatekeepy or judgmental of non-experienced musicians in this video, and that is not at all what I wanted to convey. Obviously, no judgments towards anyone here at Freebeat, and everyone is always welcome. Just my take on the OP-1, and by all means, if you are a beginner and you think the OP-1 is speaking to you, then go for it. Pick it up, and I hope you absolutely love it. So yeah, no judgment was meant in this video. Yeah, I love you all. Carry on. So if you're unfamiliar, really quick, the OP-1 is kind of a DAW replacement. It came out 10 years ago now in 2011, made by Teenage Engineering. It's a synthesizer, a drum synthesizer, a sampler, a sequencer, an arranger, a digital 4-track tape recorder, and so much more. It's also insanely expensive. Right now, the retail price for an OP-1 is $1,300 US. That's a lot. I would just like to throw out there real quick that I got my OP-1 used. I was lucky enough to pick it up for $800 US. Still a lot of money, but definitely a hefty discount from the full retail price. So, is the OP-1 my best synthesizer? No. Is it my best drum synthesizer? Also no. Is it my best sampler? Definitely not. Is it my best sequencer? Again, hard no. So why do we see so many prominent musicians with an OP-1, a device that, well, frankly, if we just added up the price of all the gear I just showed you, the MPC-1, the Micro Freak, the Volca drum, and the Electron Model Cycles, you wouldn't even be able to afford 1.5 OP-1s for the cost of all that other gear. You see, in my opinion, the value from the OP-1 is its inspirational capabilities. The OP-1 inspires me like nothing else that I've ever used. And based on what I've seen from other creators out there and musicians, at least in the YouTube world, it's the same for them as well. And of course, some people out there will always say that, well, the reason it's so expensive and that it's overhyped is because it's a Teenage Engineering device, which, yes, Teenage Engineering devices do tend to be overhyped and overpriced. You know, they've all got that kind of hipster aesthetic, and it's just something that you can't really avoid when looking at Teenage Engineering gear. But we'll start to notice a trend when we look at all of the musicians, at least available to us on YouTube, that love their OP-1s and recommend them. All of those people are experienced, established musicians and songwriters. And that, I believe, is the key difference in whether you see the OP-1 as an amazing device or an overrated hipster toy. And just to preface this real quick, my experience as a musician is about 16 to 20 years of professional drumming. That's my background. That's where I'm talking from anytime I mention my experience. But you see, as you become a more and more experienced musician, not even just in electronic music, but music in general, you start to shift your focus on what's important in music. At first, it always seems like it's the gear and getting the best sound that you can and the best sounds, but the more and more that you learn and grow, you start to realize it's all about what you do with those sounds once you have them. And thus, inspiration becomes more and more important to you as an experienced and established musician. That's what the OP-1 offers, and I think that is really why it is such an invaluable tool to so many of these musicians. There's a reason Andrew Wong keeps this on his desk, or RKC. There's a reason you see these in their videos even when they're not using them. Of course, they do look good on camera, but we can tell that these musicians really do use the OP-1, and now based on my experience, I totally get why. You can't put a price on inspiration. You just can't. The immediacy of the OP-1 and the fact that you can get any sound in here in just an instant, and the fact that you can instantly play with that sound and instantly get it into one of the sequencers, which range from incredibly, user-focused to completely random. It just means that there's always going to be something new that you can come up with and lay down. So let me give you an example of this here. Let's go to a drum. And I'm just going to go to a random slot here. I'm going to make a sound into the OP-1's mic here. Here we go. Boing. Okay, let's go ahead and edit our sample now. Nice, let's go ahead and put the LFO on. Let's send the LFO to one of the parameters here. And let's bring the cow effect in. And let's shorten it up even more. Now let's go into a sequencer here. We're going to go to the Tombola sequencer, which is just this completely random thing here. Now what I can do is go to the tape track and record this. Nice. Let's go to the tape track and let's listen to this. Cool. Completely random, see? And let's go to a different drum kit. Nice. Let's go to a different sequencer now. Yep, endless. And let's sequence something. Let's change the speed of that. And let's go and record it, overdub over what we just played. Actually, let's do a separate track. Here we go. Now, we can set an in and an out point, and let's listen. Now, I know that just sounds like complete chaos, but from that little pattern there, I was able to hear a nice rhythm that I liked playing around with that little vocal sample. And just that little idea right there, I can now take that rhythm and I can go in and make something else. I can go to maybe a synth and come up with a bass part. Doesn't line up perfectly with the vocal sample, but that's because I just, recorded that off the fly right onto the tape. I didn't even go to a sequencer. But maybe I take that idea and instead of doing something else on the OP-1, maybe that's all the inspiration I need to then pop into Ableton or pick up my bass guitar or go to the Micro Freak or the Model D or any of my other gear. Maybe just that little piece of inspiration was all I needed to get going on a new track. And that's what the OP-1 does better than anything else. There's nothing else like it. It provides that inspiration that as you become more and more experienced as a musician can be harder to come by. That's why this is such a popular device with that crowd, and that's why it's one of my favorite devices that I've ever owned. You can't really put a price on inspiration, and until something else comes around that can do what the OP-1 can, I think it will always be able to maintain a huge price tag because people will pay it because it is unique. The OP-1 might be worth $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to someone out there who has all the gear in the world, but might be struggling to get inspired for a new song. It happens to the most successful musicians. Think of your favorite artist. Surely they've put out a track that you didn't like or that just didn't feel inspired. It happens to everybody. That's one of the major things that the OP-1 does for me, and like I've said a few times in this video, that's what I believe it does for those other musicians as well. Now, that being said, is the OP-1 worth it to someone who's just starting in music? No, not at all. Horrible waste of money. Same with an amateur musician, someone who's still building their understanding of different musical concepts and whatnot. Then no, once again, huge waste of money. Not worth it at all. But if you are looking for inspiration, regardless of whether you are an acoustic musician or an electronic musician or, some hybrid of both, then this is the device that you're after if you want inspiration. And, the thing that really puzzles me about the OP-1 actually is why no one else has attempted to make an alternative device. Because yes, teenage engineering gear is expensive. And right now they can get away with it because there's nothing that rivals this little, incredible, tiny do-it-all box. So there you have it. That's my opinion on whether the OP-1 is worth it. Now, if you can't tell, I love the OP-1. I figured I'd just throw it out there. Yeah. I love you, OP-1. You're great. For me. But yeah, like I said, this video doesn't really have that different of an outcome than all those other OP-1 Is It Worth It videos, which I do recommend watching everyone's take on it because every video, while they might have the same outcome, they are all still different. So I do hope you enjoyed my take on if the OP-1 is worth it. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.